Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I have 3 stories to share with you in this very latest Moon Lambo hot jam, starting with this one from the Crypto Basic. XRP ETF debut, very respectable despite bear market, says Bloomberg senior ETF analyst. And I did report in a video yesterday that we did have the first ever XRP ETF in the United States, and it wasn't quite what I was expecting because it's a leveraged ETF, not backed by actual XRP, but it is a type of ETF. It actually is, and so that's the first one that we got, and it actually performed pretty damn well, like by a lot. So I'll be highlighting that, and then there's also this. Coinbase says XRP utility in ODL makes it attractive to financial institutions. Well, no shit. Like, are you kidding me? This could not be the most, like, be a more obvious statement. Although I say that, there are so many people in crypto who, for like the last decade, have been pushing back against this, insisting XRP has no utility, it's not appealing, yada yada, so on and so forth. Those people are idiot sticks. They're absolutely incorrect. XRP is a very obvious early winner in the crypto space. And with each passing year, it becomes that much more obvious. It becomes that much more entrenched. And so it's just nice that it's still early enough on where you can get crazy multiplier effects. As long as we continue to be correct about XRP's long-term viability, you can get crazy life-changing wealth still, I believe. But like all the stuff that you would want to be true, it's already there to be seen. It's publicly available information. Utility just keeps increasing. And so if you believe that utility matters and will win the day, which is my investment thesis at its core, then yeah, I think we probably found a winner here. Then there's also this article from the Crypto Basic. Ex-Ripple engineer says Ripple may avoid IPO to stay private. Is that so? I'm somewhat skeptical of that, but before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Let's jump into this first piece about the first ever XRP ETF, which is not a spot XRP ETF. That's the one I'll be more excited about because that will be backed by actual XRP, which will materially impact the supply and demand dynamics for XRP, which over a span of years and decades, as I always say, is going to be particularly meaningful. Absolutely. Anyway, it reads as follows. The recently launched first XRP ETF in the U.S. market, introduced by asset manager Tukrim, achieved a remarkable turnover on its first trading day. Specifically, Tukrim's 2x XRP ETF, trading under the ticker XXRP, recorded an impressive $5.43 million turnover on its debut on April 8th. So that was literally just yesterday. Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric Balkunas highlighted this achievement in a tweet. He described the feat as very respectable, especially considering the prevailing bearish sentiment in the market. Yeah, and so at least at the time that I'm recording, there's been a little bit of a pop thanks to the Trump news, which I covered in a separate video, so I won't be getting into it here. But yesterday was a different story. Market's not so hot yesterday, yet XRP actually performed pretty damn well here. And so even though I'm not as excited for this because it's just a leveraged product that's not backed by XRP, I'm still happy that it's here because it's it's now part of the XRP ecosystem. And this is a type of product which you see in traditional finance. And so all of those types of things, I've always believed since the very beginning that they should and would end up being part of the world of crypto, including the XRP ecosystem. So I say bring it. Let people do what the hell they want to do. Give them the options, right? Even if there's a short investment vehicle, like, sure, yeah, if you want to do that, just bring it all here, all of it. Now, I won't be the one going short on XRP. That's for damn sure. I mean, yeah, I'm going to sell once it's, an outsized portion of my net worth. But that doesn't mean that I'll think that XRP isn't going to continue to ultimately trend towards the upside. And in fact, even after I do that, I still intend to buy, a dollar cost average back in and get a new XRP position after I sell as we enter the depths of a new bear market, which, it's going to happen at some point. So I'll be very excited to get back into it again at that point. and just do it all over again. Anyway, piece continues. Notably, on Monday, XRP's price dipped to $1.64, its lowest in 5 months. While the price rebounded to over $1.96 on Tuesday, it dropped again to $1.73 by the evening. Despite the bearish conditions for XRP, Teucrium saw an opportunity and launched the 2x leveraged XRP ETF to capitalize on the market. Remarkably enough, the downturn did not deter its turnover as the ETF's trading volume surpassed that of a similar product for Solana. And so here is the actual post from Eric Balkunas. He's a senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg, and he shared this with his 353,000 followers on X. He wrote, XXRP, which is a 2x XRP ETF, saw $5 million in volume on day one, very respectable, especially considering the market conditions. That puts it in approximately top 5% of new ETF launches, and about 4 times what the 2x Solana ETF, SOLT, did. That's the ticker symbol, although both 200 less than King IBIT, which of course is the Bitcoin spot ETF. Okay, but again, this isn't a spot ETF. I will be very curious to see when we finally get XRP spot ETFs approved. That will be that'll be the real test there. And so if you're getting this for a leveraged product that isn't backed by XRP, that's awesome. It just instills confidence for what's going to come once you do get the spot ETF, which in my mind is the big one. Like, that's what we're waiting for. Now, that's probably not going to come until later this year, but still happy to see this. Now, Attorney John Deaton, he reposted that and he shared his perspective on this. He wrote, despite all the negative sentiment from people within the crypto industry, I've always maintained that XRP has much more appeal than industry players want to admit. Just think, 75,000 XRP holders joined together to petition the court in the Ripple case. Extraordinary. In my opinion, XRP flips Ethereum by end of year. Exactly. And there's so many metrics you can look at. And I know that the toxic Bitcoin maximalists, they like to pretend that the XRP army isn't real, that it's all just a bunch of bots, but that's just not true. I mean, look at this. It's evidenced by what he cited here. 75,000 actual humans, XRP holders, getting represented by Attorney Deaton in the SEC v. Ripple case. That's massive. And, that's a small person. That would be, I would sort of think, we don't know for sure how many humans hold XRP, but that would be a small percentage of the total number of humans that hold XRP. And so, yeah, there is interest here from regular folks, just regular people like you and I, but that has caught the attention of institutions, which just brings even more money in. And it's because XRP is functionally useful and has attributes that people find desirable. It just works. It does what Bitcoin cannot. It does what Bitcoin was supposed to do, which is to perform as a peer-to-peer cash system. XRP is it settles in real time, 3 to 5 seconds, and transactions so cheap they're effectively free. It's fractions of a penny. Yeah, the world values that very clearly. Speculators the world over have made that clear by keeping XRP in the top 10 coins by market cap for its entire existence, despite the SEC attack. That's very obvious here. And so, yes, institutions absolutely figuring this out and navigating accordingly, which just makes sense. And so, yes, the idea, as Attorney Deaton here puts, is, the idea of XRP flipping Ethereum by the end of the year in terms of market cap, yeah, I would not be surprised if that happens. I don't make predictions along these lines myself. I will not be surprised to see that happen. It's happened in the past. It's very clear that XRP has been so artificially suppressed, there's more catch-up to be had. Absolutely. Speaking of institutional adoption here, Coinbase gets it too. Here's the headline from the Crypto Basic. Coinbase says XRP utility in ODL makes it attractive to financial institutions. No way. No, I never thought about it like that. Duh. Okay. US-based Coinbase highlights the utility of XRP in ODL as a significant factor that makes the coin attractive to financial institutions and payment providers. Popular XRP community figure Wrath of Kahneman called the public's attention to this development while shedding light on some nuanced details in Coinbase's filing with the US CFTC to self-certify its listing of XRP futures contracts. As previously reported, Coinbase submitted the filing on April 3rd, 2025, noting that it plans to list contracts for XRP futures on its derivatives trading platform later this month. The broader XRP community applauded the filing as a significant move that could clear the path for the potential launch of XRP spot ETFs. Yeah, well, the ETFs are coming. And we already got the leverage one. But the spot XRP ETFs, yes, they are indeed coming here. But Coinbase would not be doing this if there weren't a market for it. They want to make money. They're a business. They're a for-profit business. Obviously. But what's driving all of this? It's what I keep insisting matters most. At the core of all of this, if you really want to condense it down, it's utility. The attributes of XRP itself that people value. As long as that continues to be the case, people keep valuing those attributes, and utility keeps increasing, you're going to see more and more money flow into this. It could not be more obvious that XRP is indeed one of the early winners of the crypto space. But what's exciting is, even though to me at least it's obvious, not enough people have figured out to the point where it's too late. Like, we are not at the point where it's too late to get life-changing wealth from XRP, but that time will come. I don't know how long it's going to take, whether it's 5 years or 10 years to get to the point where, like, you can invest. Yeah, it'll probably go up a bit over time, but it'll be as boring as investing in precious metals. It'll get to that point. But we're not there yet. We are in this incredible time, which is early. I mean, it's fair to say, like, I know we're 16 years in, but it kind of is the nascency of the crypto asset class. I would still argue. And so that's why you have this opportunity. There's not that much money in crypto. This asset class is a rounding error. You know, what is it today? About $2.5 trillion. And I know it's a little bit lower because of what's been happening with the tariff stuff. But still, that's a rounding. Like, I will not be surprised if XRP itself has a larger market cap in the future than the entire crypto asset class's market cap today. I will not be surprised if XRP by itself is bigger in the future. As long as adoption continues, and we're right, in crypto, the asset class just keeps getting bigger and bigger, yeah, XRP will just get a certain piece of the pie. But here's what Wrath of Kahneman was talking about here. He said, in the weeds. So the Coinbase XRP futures filing, which Brad also retweeted, is interesting in its disclosures. And of course, he's referencing Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO. Coinbase claims XRP in ODL's utility has made XRP particularly attractive to financial institutions, payment providers, and corporate payments. And so he says, boilerplate, or do they know something? Because they're jumping in at this time. So the speculation is, or at least the question is, do they know something on a fundamental level that is causing them to state things like this and go the direction that they're going? Or is it just some sort of general boilerplate statement? Either way, it's certainly true. And it's nice to see it coming from Coinbase, which is, whatever you or I think about it, they're still considered a reputable and well-trusted firm in the crypto space. And so here's what they actually wrote. And this is verbatim from Coinbase. And so they're recognizing something that we in the XRP community has known makes sense for like a decade. Anyway, one of XRP's primary use cases is its role in facilitating cross-border payments through Ripple's enterprise solutions, such as RippleNet and its on-demand liquidity service. ODL uses XRP as a bridge currency to enable real-time currency conversion, significantly reducing transaction costs and processing times for remittances and corporate payments. This utility has made XRP particularly attractive to financial institutions, payment providers, and remittance services seeking more efficient settlement methods. Folks, it's not some made-up thing. It's not a pipe dream. Like, this is something that is happening on a daily basis. And it's only going to get bigger. So, and it makes you wonder, given that it is going to get bigger, wouldn't you think at some point Ripple would indeed want to IPO? Because I still say the answer is yes. Whether it's soon or not so soon, it's still coming here. But here's the headline. Ex-Ripple engineer says Ripple may avoid IPO to stay private. And I'm kind of skeptical of that, let's say. But anyway, Matt Rosenden, and by the way, that's him right here on the right, Matt Rosenden. He was on with Ray Fuentes. And so anyway, Matt Rosenden, a former Ripple software engineer and the CEO of tokenization provider Capsign, has provided a crucial update on the Ripple IPO charge. Speaking at a podcast with host Ray Fuentes on Tuesday, Rosenden claimed that Ripple's inclination towards an initial public offering is thin compared to other major fintech firms, and he stressed that going public is not the cross-border payment titan's utmost priority at the moment. Okay, well, that part I would agree with. It may not be of the utmost importance right now, but I will remind you that they were aiming 2 years ago, very serious. Actually, let's back up a little bit further than that. They actually were thinking that they were going to go public. It would have been, I guess, what would that have been? So I guess 2021, they thought it would have happened that year. And I've heard through the grapevine this is indeed the case. They were going to go for it. But then the SEC sued them. So that put the kibosh on that for a number of years. Then in 2023, as we were approaching the end of the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit, Ripple thought that it would be a good idea to get out there again. And, well, I say again, to revive their goal of ultimately having an IPO. Now, because most of it was behind the scenes, and there had been some statements from Brad Garlinghouse, but nothing concrete publicly, technically. But they decided, no, this is the time. It's 2023, 2 years ago. Let's go forward with this. Let's go on a roadshow. And I pulled up this post. This is from June 1st of 2023, almost 2 years ago. Former Fox Business journalist Eleanor Terrett, she wrote, new. In April, Ripple hosted a private roadshow, which is a marketing event where a company and its underwriters meet with potential investors to generate interest in an IPO. I'm told it was attended by just about every reputable institutional investment firm on the street. Okay, and that's true. So they went on a roadshow to generate interest in an IPO. It didn't happen. The reason it didn't happen, and I talked about this on my channel at the time later in the year, it's because the lawsuit, like even after we got the final judgment, July 13, 2023, even after that, firms were like, yeah, but this isn't technically over, and then there's concerns about appeal, this or that. And so it did fall apart, but Ripple did want to move forward. Just to be clear, like Ripple, absolutely, they actively sought to generate this interest so they could have an IPO. So things could have changed at this particular point. I don't know exactly what their balance sheet looks like this second. Brad Garlinghouse hasn't talked about it in a while, but a while back he did state that they had over $1 billion on the balance sheet. I don't know what it looks like now. But when I say balance sheet, like I mean literally like $1 billion in cash or cash equivalents. So that's pretty wild. They have more money than God. So anyway, there is that interest. I still think it's going to happen. It's a question of when. And with all the acquisitions they're doing right now, maybe they're going to more so focus on that in the short term, but I think it's coming. Either way, it's interesting to hear perspective from somebody who used to work at Ripple. And so anyway, piece continues. Rosendin made the comment when asked if Ripple had any chance at going public before firms like Circle, Kraken, or Consensus. Notably, key industry leaders like Bitwise predicted that some of these firms would file for an IPO this year, with 2025 as the year of IPOs. In agreement with this sentiment, Rosendin noted that Circle will most likely go public first amid intensified efforts by the stablecoin issuer. Notably, the USDC issuer filed an IPO request with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission last month after a confidential application in January 2024. However, the former Ripple engineer highlighted that Ripple may not be considering an IPO as it plans to stay private. He boldly mentioned that becoming a public company has no added incentive for the cross-border payment firm. Okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I know that he'd be much more in the know than me, but just in a general sense, if you go public, you have more funds, you can do more stuff. Just condense it down, right? That's something that has interested them going back over half a decade. What, they just lost that interest? I doubt it. Now, I could buy the argument that maybe it's not going to be happening tomorrow. That might be true. We'll see. But I still think it's going to happen. Like, one day, you're just going to see that Ripple, they're a publicly traded company. Like, they will be. I believe that that's a virtual certainty at this point. To have a firm of that, I mean, especially in the regulatory environment that we find ourselves in now, with the Trump administration being as pro-crypto as they are, so that means that the entire United States government from the top on down pro-crypto. This is the type of stuff that would have happened if crypto had been embraced over the last decade instead of fought. So now that we're in this environment, it just makes it more likely that these types of things are going to happen. So then think about that. Then more money flowing into a firm, which is effectively the largest cheerleader for XRP and the XRP ecosystem on the entire damn planet. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I would not mind that at all. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.